I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God. Read your neighbor. Oh, yeah. Well, yes, I agree. Hot day. I can hear me all the way back. I know. You don't have to avoid it. Today's invitation will be offered by Henry Crum.
Let us pray. Gracious God, please hear our prayers. Since our last meeting, many of us witnessed an eclipse, saw the change from light to darkness, and marveled in the sudden temperature drop. And we witnessed the seemingly miraculous return of light, warmth, and normalcy. But also since our last meeting, violence continues in Haiti, Israel, Gaza, Iran, even in the streets of our own great country. Just this week, we've seen updates about rising ocean temperatures, greater environmental distress, and even New York City felt a 4.8 magnitude earthquake. Just this week, many of us have had conversations with friends and family about more health scares, return of some childhood diseases, the homeless population, financial distress, etc., etc. Fortunately, even in the midst of all this chaos in the world, we still find people united who freely give of their time, their talents, and treasures to support our communities in the form of many nonprofit organizations, service clubs, churches, and educational institutions. We are grateful for the guidance of Rotary's four-way test and from the wisdom of the founders of this Rotary Club. But even more, by the glue of friendship, compassion, duty, and care that keeps this club together. So as we look forward to the days ahead, with both gratitude and concern, remind us that we are not alone. Amen.
And I hope all of you got to see the solar eclipse. Don, where are you at? I was not gonna say anything about this or even mention it to you, but I was not a solar eclipse like big believer or thinking it was gonna be cool, but it ended up being really stinking cool. Okay, so props to you. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. And the glasses, that was actually really cool. So I went out to find my husband during this because he was at home during the time too. And it's also mushroom hunting season, so I don't know if any of you are mushroom hunters, but he was out in the woods looking for mushrooms, and I was like, dude, it's dark. You can't find mushrooms in the dark when it happens. So he said the animals were all going crazy during that too. So he thought it was pretty cool, but couldn't find anything during that time. So anyways, today is National Titanic Day, Remembrance Day. So on this day, remember the lives that were lost when the Titanic sank into the North Atlantic's icy waters in 1912. Remember more than the 1,500 people who died that day. Since that day, journalists, engineers, ocean explorers, historians, survivors, and descendants of those that lost have been trying to piece together the events leading up to that night. Countless hours of documentation, salvage, expeditions, and interviews all record the perspectives of those involved. Every angle and myth have been considered, from the investors to the designers, the builders, and the sailors, right down to the communications of those left behind. To this day, it is still heartbreaking and mesmerizing story, no matter where you begin. So today is National Titanic Remembrance Day. So with that, it is Secretary Rennison's report.
Thank you, President Courtney. We have the honor of welcoming a new member today, Dr. McCall, if you'll come forward. Dr. Ann McCall is the president of the College of Wooster, and she was sponsored by Greg Long. Welcome. Thank you. We will start introduction of guests with Greg Long.
I don't care what Courtney says, April 15th is tax, which I'm due to. For almost 50 years, that's the only
Okay.
day that I ever remember was April 15th.
I thought that was pretty obvious, so I was trying to.
Oh, obvious?
Yeah.
Yours must be done. As I mentioned your name, stand up, I got a few that I invited. Lindsay is the Northeast Coordinator for the Attorney General's Office. Doug Deacon, he's Chair of the Wayne County Republican Party, and you know why he's here. Tom Huffman is Executive Director of Advancement in Kent State, the Ambassador Crawford School of Business. Carlos Ledette is the Senior Director of Advancement in Kent, same School of Business. Matt Fisher, Chief of Police, Worcester, Ohio. I'm sure you all know the chief. Dave Hamworth, the former mayor and now retired mayor of Oroville. And David Davila, an engineer of Liberty.
Thank you, Greg. Robin Lou Beasley has the traveling microphone. We'll start with Brianna Kreitz.
All right, I have Megan Wilson with me today. She's the Executive Director of Pregnancy Care Center, and Karen No, is the Director of Development there.
And we hope to get some updates from Armando New.
Over last weekend, I saw the clips with some friends track was good. But it was like it was what I was expecting to see. We hang out for like the rest of the day. And this weekend, yes. But yesterday I was in New York City, like for the weekend. And it was like really beautiful. Not like big kitty, yeah, and thank you.
Well, I also know the solar eclipse. That was so beautiful. Yeah. It was so beautiful. So I watched it with my house Sunday, and we had our near my house there playing music, and the guys are in the park, so we sit in the park. It was cool. Oh yeah, so in Japan, 2035. So we have also solar eclipse. So come to visit Japan.
Aww.
To Tokyo, Kyoto, and see eclipse. Sound good?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I also go to New York City. Yeah, that was big city. Yeah, everything is so expensive. I spent $20 for breakfast. I'm still doing. I didn't see any credit credit card. So yeah, I feel so sorry to my dad. So because I use it. That was good experience. Thank you.
Aw.
Thank you.
My guest today is the mayor, Steve Wooster, right?
Thank you, Robin. We have two announcements from the podium, Bill Mariola and Tom Rumbaugh.
Thank you, Lynn. This past March 7th, we held a Wooster Rotary wine and bourbon tasting at Greystone Events Center. We had about 150 people present. The idea was to have a social event where club members could mingle and talk with other members in a casual setting. It was not designed as a fundraiser. President Courtney and the board told co-chair George Schmitz and me that the event needed to pay for itself without using any club money. We were able to accomplish that. In fact, we actually made money for the club. This was in large part due to the generosity of many club members who sponsored the event either personally or through their business. I would like to just take a minute to acknowledge the following. South Market Dental, Dr. Mike Miller, Wooster Dental, Dr. Alan Kiefer and Dr. Zach Sherman, Mario Davis Group, Cutler Real Estate, Melissa Mario, Mormon, Dr. Cook, Wealth Partners, Chad Mormon and Roger Cook, Briggs and Star, Wealth Management, Adam Starr, Braille Law Office, Margot Braille, Josh Montgomery, Cleveland Road Animal Hospital, Chad Bailey, Remax Showcase, Jim Hand, Compact, Justin Starlin, Worcester Motorways, Paul Williams, Ben Mayball, Matt Yost, and MCPB, Ann Smith. Also, a very special thank you to Brian Logan and the Logan Construction Company. They sponsored the food table. And also to Frank Relly, who donated a case of assorted wines that we raffled off. Brian Lawyer, who headed up the bourbon table, and many members of our club who poured wines that night. There were some unopened wines that go to the end of the evening. They will be for sale at the end of today's meeting in the area over here near the piano. All monies collected today will go directly into our club's account. So please buy some wine to take home and help your club out at the same time. Joey Schmitz and I will be over there to explain the wines, and we hope that you find something that you want to take home. Thank you.
I don't care what Greg or Courtney say, I'm gonna declare this week as Flag Maintenance Week. In celebration of Flag Maintenance Week, we are having a flag maintenance session on Thursday out at the, out by the Humane Society from 4 to 6. Any questions, come and see me afterwards. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you everyone for being here and all of our guests. I hope you did enjoy today's presentation, and at this time, you're going to have past President Greg introduce our speakers.
Well, it's a great pleasure to introduce the Attorney General. Dave and I go way back. Dave Yost was reelected as Ohio's 51st Attorney General in November of 22, receiving more votes than any other Attorney General in the state's history. During his first term as the state's chief legal officer, he quickly gained a national reputation as a fearless advocate for the rule of law, or as he puts it, the same rules apply to everybody. Yost's goals is to do big good. I never heard that. That's pretty good. For the people of Ohio, by protecting consumers, rooting out corruption, defending the environment, ensuring an open and competitive marketplace, and fulfilling the many other duties of Ohio Attorney General's office. Yost began his public service career as Delaware County Auditor, later winning election as the county's prosecutor. From 2011 to 2018, he served as Ohio's Auditor of State, and in January 2019 began his first term as Attorney General. He earned his bachelor's degree from Ohio State, the Ohio State, and law degree from Capital University. He and his wife Darlene live in Franklin County. They have 3 grown children and 5 grandchildren. And Dave is a Rotarian. At this time, fellow Rotarians, Attorney General Dave Yost.
Thank you.
Yes.
There we go. Thank you. Madam President, thank you for accommodating my technological preference. It's good to be back. I think this is the fourth time in my career I've had the opportunity to speak to this Rotary Club. And I guess that shows you how old I am. I hope to talk to you today about the importance of the rule of law and the role of law. I don't suppose the rule of law will surprise anybody considering what it is I do for a living. I'm the Attorney General, which means I'm the Chief Law Officer for Ohio. And I'm proud in that role to support the blue. I'm proud to support for your state government and defending itself against lawfare activism of people like Martha Elias who think that they know better than your elected representatives what laws should be in Ohio. But I want to talk to you about something very specific, because we have begun to lose in our country, I think, a respect for the rule of law. By that, I don't mean there's no law out there or even any law respecters, but rather that in our tribalism, we've started to overlook a lot of details and the importance of the original rule. All of you, I'm sure, have heard the famous quote, "Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts." Absolutely, it's Lord Acton Dahlberg. And it's interesting because he was writing, when he wrote that, he was writing a letter to a friend of his, and they were arguing about the divine right of kings. Now, the divine right of kings was the idea that it was the rule of the man. It means that the king is the law, by Rex. And the Lord Acton Dahlberg, in this letter, said, in rejecting the divine right of kings, said, "I can think of no greater heresy than the office justifies the man." And yet, I think too often in America today, we're beginning to see on both sides of the aisle that things that would be utterly objectionable to you if they were done by the other side become perfectly fine if they're done by your own allies or your own side. But the rule of law means that we're not bound by the whims and the dictates of an individual person, that the law is higher than the person, that the people who govern are not the lawgivers subject to nothing, but rather that they are they're constrained by the law. You may do what the law permits you to do, and otherwise you may not. This is called the Constitution. The Constitution says that the government cannot abridge your freedom of speech. Your right to worship, please, may not invade your home or your papers and just go take stuff because they think crime. It means they're not allowed to throw you in jail without a trial and a conviction by a jury of your peers. Those are the things that constrain the government. You notice that none of those things are talking about you. They're talking about what the government is allowed to do. And the government should not be allowed to do anything it wishes. Because when it does, we're back to the monarch. We're back to the rule of men and not the rule of law. The rule of law also gives us a continuity. I want you to think for a second. I don't care whether you like energy pipelines, target hydrocarbons, or you think that they're killing the planet. Just put that aside for a second and follow me, because I'm not talking about energy policy. Keystone Pipeline. The Obama administration considered this and didn't like it very much, wouldn't permit it, and fine. Then the next administration came in, and they did like it, and they permitted it. Now, I want you to think about with me for a second, what changed in between those two administrations with an election? Once that permit was issued, what happened? Well, for starters, a whole lot of investment decisions got made. Money was diverted from here to there. People made a decision to to plow effort, money, and time that they might not get from that into that project. They changed based on what the government said it's going to do. And then we have people who are in business. Let's say you're a manufacturer of those, great big pipes that they use for energy, moving energy. If that's you, you can't make all of the pipe in the world. You have a maximum capacity. Let's say that you have the ability to do 1,000 miles of pipe per year. If you work 3 shifts and nothing broke down and you had enough workers. Well, by signing up to provide the pipe, what happens to you? You're not bidding on any other jobs. There's no other buyers for your pipe because you told them my capacity is sold out. What about just average Joes who said, the guy said, honey, there's not a lot of work around here for pipeline guys. I'm going to take my trade and we're going to move west. And because there's going to be good, that it's going to take us years to construct this thing, it's going to be good paying jobs, so they move. So this is not just a big money banker investor kind of thing. It impacts everybody from the guy turning the wrench and running a welder, all the way through local bankers, local suppliers who are tied in all those production decisions. And then we have another election. And now, the Keystone Pipeline is no longer permitted. Now, my point is not to say that any one of the 3 presidents that I just referenced made a wrong decision in terms of the environment, energy policy, and all of that. My point is to ask you to consider what happens in our country, what happens to our businesses, our families, our communities when an election can so dramatically change the way we go. Now, the rule of law means fundamentally restraint on government action as well as private action. And it means continuity. But when you rely on something, it will be so. I mention this because we're in a time when we have prosecutors who will not enforce laws they don't like. We have presidents who want to issue executive orders instead of Congress. For those of you civics class in high school, it's a long time to learn to remember. President is not allowed to make laws, enforces laws, and it's Congress that makes the laws. And so here we are today. You will read and probably have read multiple times about my office getting involved in different lawsuits against the federal administration. There are times that I have joined lawsuits where I didn't particularly object to the policy that was being pursued. But I was objecting to the usurpation of legislative role of Congress because the president is not the lawgiver. We have no monarch in America. We live by the rule of law. Something larger than ourselves, something more important than any individual party platform or agenda. The rule of law is fundamentally a restraint on power, and power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. something larger than ourselves. Which brings me to the second thing I wanted to talk to you about for just a moment, because all that got pretty serious and pretty heavy stuff as they're society. Let's talk about for a minute something that's a little higher plane. There's a book out, just came out late last year. I highly recommend to any of you who like to get books out and read them. But for those of you who don't like to read 600-page books, I'm going to give you 5 minutes and you'll know what you need to know about this book. It's called Awe, A-W-E. And one of the things that it looks at is science of how the nature of wonderment, the nature of awe, changes us physically and mentally. Awe, he says, he divides awe into 3 categories: tears, chills, hair standing up on the back of your neck, and whoa. I had to say it like that because it's W-H-O-A, things that make you go, whoa. He's from California, University of Berkeley, so we'll give him a little bit of inarticulateness in his language. But you all know what it means. And those moments where, and sometimes it might be standing on the edge of the ocean at sunrise and watching waves pound the shore, tide come in, and you feel humble, you feel awestruck. We all have that kind of feeling, right? Maybe it's in the mountains, the mountains towering high above, sun glistening on snow caps. There's all kinds of different things that inspire that awe. But one of the things that he argues is we don't see things that cause us to feel awe. We don't slow down long enough. We don't put down our phones long enough. We don't turn off our screens long enough. And yet, what they find, what he and other researchers have found, is that when we experience awe, it releases neurotransmitters that actually create additional white matter in your brain. White matter is what connects the neurons and causes your brain to integrate work together. It also shows that awe relieves stress and reduces cortisol and the kinds of biochemicals that tee you up and keep you up. There's a long list of things, and then he talks about how this actually works and how we might find it in our daily lives. But one of the things that he includes is that human contact is able to produce awe. And I want to suggest to you, Rotarians, you can put service above self. Thank you for that motto. In 3 words, you say what makes us, what is best about humans, service above self. I love that. The author of this book suggests that it is in community, as in interaction with each other, that we also find awe. Now, I want to tell you a quick story. One of the cool things about my office is that I get to go out and do justice. I never have to be in that position like I was when I was in the private sector practicing law. I absolutely despise my client. I think he's wrong and ought to lose. And I have to go in and try to convince the court that what I think is not true, which is stressing. But we had a case, Dollar General was mispricing things. So you go in and there'd be a bottle of shampoo on the counter on the shelf that was $1. You get to the checkout and it's $2. Now, everybody can see the problem with that, right? That's not fair. That's false advertising. It's deceptive. It's wrong. And my office, actually, in the Consumer Sales Practices Act, has working to fix that. Turned out it was endemic. All across the state, every county that had Dollar Generals, this was going on. And here's the problem, when the poor people who were shopping there, because I mean, let's say, if you don't go buy your shampoo at Dollar General, if you just inherited $1 million. These are folks that are, a dollar matters a lot. They get up, most of the time they didn't even notice, they didn't overcharge, but when they did, they say, hey, I was overcharged. And cash register person would say, I don't have any way to give you any money back, that's, we don't have a process for that, I'm sorry. So we sued them, and we won. And how we won, we got them to agree, A, to stop doing it. B, that they would have regular inspections check between their small pricing and the cash register. And thirdly, they wrote $1 million. Now I've got another problem. What do I do with $1 million? Greg, should I give $1 million that came from poor people to the government? Greg doesn't like that idea either. I didn't like that idea at all. But how do we get back to them? Because they don't have a receipt. How come we don't know or more? Don't even know they got ripped off. And even if they had a receipt, well, we're paying court administrator, $18 per check for $3 each. So one day taking a shower, I have to end up. If you're shopping at Dollar General, I reason, it seems likely that sometime during the year, you probably have had reason to go to a food pantry at least once. So we distributed all that money to food pantries around the state, and money without anything coming off the top went back into the communities that were on having it. Not all into the city, but so as part of my travels, when I go around, I frequently stop to see the local food pantry that's doing this good work, meet the people and thank them, because most of them are either very poorly paid or volunteers. And I've bet me to Ravenna, not too far from how many people have been to Ravenna? Okay. Tough time. It's at tough times. They've got a place called Center for Hope. It's a beautiful little food pantry. But unlike most food pantries, they're basically brick buildings with shelves. You go in and get food and box out the table. They also have a dining room. This dining room is, if you've ever been at a friendly's restaurant, kind of like that. Food's around the edge, flat four tops, out in the middle, and there's food line on one end. Now, it looked like the friendlies that hadn't been updated in 4 years. But it was clean, and there were tables, and it wasn't a soup kitchen, wasn't a soup line. And every day at noon during the week, they bring people in and feed them hot. And people are not only hungry for companionship. A lot of these people show up 2 or 3 times a week. I've had a few of them that are there every day. All of them have a story. I'm going to tell you the finish today by telling one story that produced awe in me. There was a lady who looked like she had a very hard life. I'm going to guess she's 60, but she could be 15 years either side of that. And I wouldn't know. But long, gray, grizzled hair. She's missing a few of her teeth. We'll call her out. She was sitting next to a guy who had done 2 years in the Navy. And you could tell that those were probably the 2 best years of his life. he had some tough breaks as well. So the lady that runs the place, with Joyce Harris, sits and I sit down at the table to meet them, and immediately our Navy friend leans across the table and says, "We got more bad news." And what had happened is Alice had a friend who had been out of touch. She was getting increasingly worried, calling her cell phone and wasn't getting picked up. So that morning, she had gone to knock on her door to see if she was okay. No answer. She calls the police. Well-being check. And cops come, make entry, and she's gone. She's on the floor, deceased. And that had happened literally an hour and a half before that. And Alice begins to cry, talks a little bit about her friend. Lady was a food pantry, was a beautiful lady, a basic matrix, original matrix. Remember the Oracle? She reminds me of the Oracle, this incredibly dignified, wise, well-spoken person. And she comforts the two of them. And she stands up, I take a cue, I stand up too, and she says, "I don't know what to tell these people. I can't fix them. I don't know what to do for them except to feed them, to love them, to sing for them." Now that's been clanged on my ear a bit. I was like, okay, so we're gonna have a really cringy, talent show after lunch here. What does that mean? That's not what I said. I said, so what does that look like? Singing to them. She went around the table. She kneeled down right next to Alice, reached out with both her arms and embraced her. And very soft, no microphone, no audience, one-to-one, she began singing into her ear. I don't think the rest of the people were even aware what was going on. But I could hear it. And Alice leaned into the embrace. She laid her head on the lady's shoulder. And that was an awe-inducing moment. My message to you is they're all around you. They're the people you work with, you have to run into, your friends, your not friends. It's all around you. And I encourage you today to keep your eyes open for that, because it will be good for the spirit, soul, and body. So I see there's a piano over here. I wonder if it's a tune. Close enough. Would you all stand? God bless America. And I stand beside you.
You know you have to run. So thank you so much for your, we really, really appreciate it. Give him one more last one. Oh, all right. That's one of my favorite songs, so I'm gonna start cheering up. So let's just stop that. All right, so we normally stop now and end our meeting, but we're not going to. We're going to, are you ready? I know, but you're going to. You're gonna do great too. So with that, our new member, Brianna Kreitz, is gonna come up with a presentation talk. Let's just give her a big round of applause. Let's go. Oh, shoot. I forgot.
Yeah, so I don't know how I follow that, but good afternoon. I'm so excited and slightly nervous to be up here to share with all of you. So much that I messaged Courtney this morning and I'm like, am I sharing the right things? My name is Brianna, and as much as Joe kept trying to claim me in the beginning, I am from the Pregnancy Care Center of Wayne County and not People to People. Although we do have a great partnership with them, and Joe was a great member of our board for years. I was born in Wayne County, a true Wayne County agricultural girl. Grew up on a small hobby farm and showed animals at the fair, and was also a member of the FFA. I married my high school sweetheart upon graduating high school. We moved to Fort Hood, Texas, where he had just returned after a year-long deployment with the Army in Afghanistan. Then we moved to Fort Knox, Kentucky, where he deployed again to Afghanistan for another year. And then after returning from there, we were forced to move across the ocean to Hawaii, where my passion for photography was born. Our first child, Adeline, was born there. And then after she was born, we moved back home and my husband went on his third and final deployment to Afghanistan. Upon returning and getting out of the Army, he then moved into the gas field as an operator. We had both of our boys here in Ohio. In 2014, I started a photography business and a health and wellness business that I still do today. I slowly built those businesses as I was raising our children at home. In 2022, I opened up a studio and a rentable studio space with my friend Valerie Gaddy, who owns Valerie Gaddy Photography. We opened up a studio downtown Worcester called the Brick Loft. It's a rentable photography studio where other photographers can rent the space to use as their own. It's been a huge hit for our photographers in Wayne County and surrounding counties. In the fall of 2023, our youngest went to kindergarten, and that's when God really laid on my heart to serve. He led me to a mission I'm very passionate about. So this is my family. As posted in the introductory, we love to be outdoors, so much that my husband opened up his own plastic bait company, the Killbutt Creek Bait Company, a year ago that our kids enjoy helping him make. We spend lots of time fishing, hiking, hunting, and on a baseball or basketball, volleyball court, anywhere where they're doing sports that year. We love to work out and be active. This past September, my husband and I were blessed to be able to travel to Alaska with Operation Heal Our Patriots, an organization that serves wounded warriors, founded by the late Billy Graham's son, Franklin Graham. It was a blessing to meet him and have incredible people pour into our marriage for a week and explore the last frontier. We have 3 very outgoing children that keep us super busy. Adeline, who is 11, she loves basketball, softball, and volleyball. She loves bow hunting with her dad and all the girly girl things too. She loves quality time and hanging out with her friends and family. Corbin is 10. He loves soccer, basketball, and baseball. He loves a good backyard football game too, although sometimes those football games sometimes happen in our living room. I'm not sure if any parents can relate with that. He's a sports statistic fanatic. What I love about this kid most though is his servant's heart. And then Lincoln, who is 6, he's our full of life, 100 miles per hour kid who keeps us on our toes. Any sports he loves, any activity, he is there. He's convinced he's gonna be a Green Beret, play football for Ohio State Buckeyes and the Browns. The way he talks and never slows down, I believe every word of it. This is our studio, and it is located between Helms and Larry's Music Store. We both have our separate photography businesses, but we share the rentable studio space, the Brick Loft. And again, that was opened in 2022. I'm very blessed that I am able to use my passion of photography with the Pregnancy Care Center and use my gifts to bless moms here at the center. Most recently, blessing these moms with Mother's Day photos shown here in this photo. So our mission at the Pregnancy Care Center is a Christ-centered ministry that provides alternatives to abortion and is committed to saving lives physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So this is our team, and just since I've been there in December, we've already added on 2 new staff members, and so we are growing quickly. We're so blessed to have Dr. Sharon Mark Anthony as our medical director of the center. So these are the different services that we provide. On the medical side, we provide pregnancy testing, ultrasounds, STD testing and treatment, offer prenatal vitamins, and then we refer out. It's great that we have such a good partnership with Dr. Mark Anthony because we're able to get our patients in there if there's a critical situation. On our client side, we have Earn While You Learn classes. We offer material assistance. We have our Women of Hope Jail in 180 program, our Men of Honor and Pathways program, our school program where we teach abstinence against sex, drug, alcohol, and tobacco. And we have abortion recovery, and then we also have so many community referrals, which is kind of why I was brought on. My role here is the Director of Community Engagement, so I'm able to really cultivate those relationships in the community. So you can just see how much we have grown in the last just couple years. We have had 125% increase in just medical patients. Just last week, I believe we had 42 medical appointments. So we are growing like crazy. A few things to point out here in our statistics of 2023 is nearly 2,000 parenting classes. I mean, those are moms and sometimes dads that are coming in for parenting classes. So that's how many we had just come in this past year, and over 800 medical appointments. So this is our baby boutique where our clients get to shop after their classes, or material assistant clients get to shop. So you don't have to be just a client of ours to shop. Anybody can come in every 90 days and get material assistance. You can find things such as diapers, wipes, formula, hygiene items, clothes, and more. So we just wrapped up our renovation for our medical side, so that's been a pretty exciting thing. We just opened up a lot bigger side there. So you can see here, we have given away $115,000 cost at retail items. These are all 100% donated by supporters. So here's where I'm staying, the phase 2 renovation just completed like last week. So it's been a little crazy around there. We've added 2 exam rooms and 2 private medical restrooms. We've added on a VIP room where we get to bring our clients in who are vulnerable in a lot of vulnerable situations, get to sit down, talk to them, hear what their needs are, whether it's housing, food insecurities, if they're just in an unsafe situation, we have to meet with them and just figure out a good plan of action for them. We added on a large conference meeting room, which hosts up to 40 people. And then we've added on a lot of storage, which is amazing because we even have like a couple off-site storages just to have all our stuff. So we were able to get an additional ultrasound machine and then enhance our group class experience. So our group classes on Tuesday nights have been growing like crazy. So we're just feel blessed to be able to continue to grow those and meet the needs of our community there. So this is ways to get involved. We have some important things coming up and exciting things. We have our pancake for breakfast. It's a Mother's Day theme, so come out. You'll actually, if you're there, you'll get a Mother's Day photo by me. Complimentary. We have our open house, both chambers, Worcester and Oroville will be there. And if you are looking to get involved here, volunteer with the center, we have our May 2nd training. So it's an easy way to get started with us then. And then October 1st, save the date. That's when our annual banquet is. And there's a QR code up there if you would like to scan it. It's a great way. It's the best way to just be involved, is become a prayer partner. We send out notifications if we have a client come in that needs prayers. We send those out right away, and that is how you can be connected. So, yeah, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, again, thank you to all of our guests that are here with us today. Next week's meeting is actually going to be at Long's Military Museum, and Greg's going to give us a little bit of direction for next week, real quick. You've got 2 minutes.
We'll make this short. I really hope that many of you can come next week. We're gonna do it between 11 and 1. It's an open house format. There'll be no tours, but the entire museum staff will be there. You can come and eat anytime between them, walk around, do whatever you want. We want to make it very friendly, easy. There's a big city lot right next to the museum. It's right behind Muddy's, right across the alley. If you are a senior citizen or handicapped, I know you won't admit it, but you can park right there at the door. Okay, we have about 8 spots. If not, you can park in the city lot. There'll be a big sign out there. There's no signs on the building, okay, for a good reason. But we'll have people out there. There's plenty of room. And I hope you can come. The cooks have already been there. They're briefed. The food will be there, so you can come, stay 10 minutes and leave. You can come and spend the whole 2 hours. It doesn't matter. So we'd really like to see all of you. You saw bits and pieces. And if you like what you see and you want to come back, we do tours about every other week. They're about 2 hours long. So you'll see a number of Rotarians in the museum, in their unit, not in their uniforms automatically. So anyway, we hope to see you next week.
Perfect. Yeah, don't come here. Come to the military museum, like Long's Military Museum, next week. So you'll get the address and that in our weekly email. And with that, I think you stand adjourned. Oh, yes. Thank you, Bill. Come buy some wine. Get your checkbooks out, check card. We take it all. We'll take any kind of money payment over there. Thank you. Have a great week.
I'm exhausted.